Game number 2 is starting then, and it seems like just a normal Arabia. Okay, so they are going for the standard skill deciding game. And, well, looking at the civilizations, we have Winchester as Hans. He will be probably having a bit more game than last time around. Warrior is Mayan, Lavihet is Mongol, and we have a proper mirror, which is for Tatoch Mongol, Setito Mayan, and Moneymon is Han. So the first to have a look at is going to be Winchester. So let's enjoy his gameplay as long as it lasts, and he has already discovered on the left his first boar, and otherwise he's having gold reasonably safe at the back, together with a bit of a hill. He aims to go for some archers in the early feudal age as a Han. Well, that could be also an option. He's having deer at the forefront together with some stone, which is a bit worse placement, as if he doesn't have anything at the back, fortunately for him he does. Yeah, if he didn't have at the back, it would be very open and kinda problematic for him in the early game. He's also using right now the scout to lure some deers in. Otherwise, where is actually the second boar? On the right side. Here, extra gold, which he should be discovering just about now, together with the boar. Oh yeah, so he knows where both of those boars are, and we'll be switching into the next player from VIK. It's going to be Pocket Mayan Warrior. Pocket Mayan, not half bad in there. And has he discovered the boar? Yeah, on the right side, together with yet another save gold and some extra hunt. And quite a lot of woodline actually, so it should be reasonably safe for him to wall in. And even though on the front side he's having a bit of an open side, it still should be basically just the one side that should be open for him. Otherwise he will be plugging in the holes very easily on the right side and on the bottom side as well. A lot of stone on the left side, so yep, that's definitely something where he will need to concentrate. Some town centers and whatnot. Otherwise, some extra gold at the bottom. And that's pretty much it for him. So one boar on the right side, already working on walling himself in, and the second boar is on the forefront, and he knows about it. Yes, he does. So no kind of problem for him. He seems to be aiming into the middle pocket, or rather into the pocket of his opponent, possibly to steal some boar. And is he going to be having any kind of luck? Oh yeah, he won't. He won't because Moneymon. Oh, he actually might, because this boar is not listening to the blue player, but right now he finally is, and he will be luring it right inside his base. And where is the second boar? Is that potentially going to be in a risk? No, it's not, and there's not going to be anything for the yellow player to steal. On the right side, the last player to have a look at is VIK Lavihet, who is building a mill right next to the berry bushes, having the boars on the left side. Well, that was quite far away from the base. Yeah, quite interestingly far away with the extra hunt in here, and she should be probably seeing what's happening with the second boar quite easily, I would be thinking. Yeah, she does. She is scouting the map very nicely so far, and she's also having quite interesting position of the mines. Should be very easy for her. Yeah, one wall here, and she's basically safe with one here. Yeah, without the Wolfie, and she has both those golds and the stones very easily secured for herself, and she should be basically impregnable to some early attacks. So that's a very huge bonus for her, and she will be booming quite nicely, and she is a Mongol, and that's definitely something that she will be wanting to do. Scout from Tatoch, who is the first one, or rather second one we will be having a look at from ByTs, is already aiming into opponent's base, trying to discover what's happening here. We're definitely not going to be stealing any boars, so we have been denied any kind of ball stealing, or rather boar stealing action. But looking at the minimap, I'm still looking for yellow scout. Okay, on the left. Oh, and is he going to be making an attempt at this boar in the end? Well, he probably could be, but it's not going to succeed, obviously, because of this villager together with the scout. So, yep, that's Eagle Warrior dead. Or is he dead? Okay, so it's at least 1 for 1. I was slightly worried that Warrior might be heading himself, or rather aiming into some kind of tough situation, but with killing the scout here, he's basically even in the game, and with this guy having just 3 hit points, it's just a question of time before he finds himself into a spot where he shouldn't be. He can't even steal the boar, so that's basically successfully stopped, and oh, it almost looked like he was going just by himself to kill the scout, but obviously that's not how the engine works here. So for blue, we see some mites at the back. That's stone together with gold, so that's pretty much safe. Otherwise, he's having something extra in the forefront. Very nice cross and stone together with gold. Should be reasonably easy to wall, even though it's kinda wider span. Still shouldn't be all that hard, but the right side, oh well, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's probably not going to be wallable all that easy. So yep, she will, or rather he will have to do quite a lot of scouting and rather microing to be sure that he isn't raided in the early game. Laviet is trying to make sure that she knows what's happening in Red's base. He's playing Mayan here. He's also having a bit of an aggressive gold, but still it's not really all that open. Can possibly make some kind of defense for it, especially if he uses this kind of fridge on the right side. So yeah, that could be something in there. And well, otherwise, very widely open on the right side, even though, yeah, that's not really anything that you would want to do. To actually build a wall so far away from your base, basically would be a wall on Lavi head. That's not going to be anything useful. And yeah, this basically means that the Setito will be wide open for potential early attacks. And I kind of think that Scout Cavalry raiding will be something that Lavi head will be opting for very early. Do we see some militia raiding? Some Drashin here? No, I don't see anything at all like that. Literally nothing like that happening in here. Just a bit of walling from Warrior, who will be basically booming the same as last game, I would be thinking. As Mayan, he will be potentially even slinging. Let's see about that. But still, I wouldn't really expect that. I would much more expect all three from VIKs to go for the standard and not anyone sacrificing their skills for the betterment of their team. Web, that's stable for the hand player Winchester, basically standard. Stable for Lavihet as well on the right side. The right side. And as for the speculations in the chat for watching the stream, there is actually 4.5 minutes spectator delay, which is quite a lot in 5 minutes. There's a whole lot happening, and basically the information is not going to be all that much relevant, or pretty much relevant at all, to what is happening. And also, he cannot know, or rather, the way I'm looking at the map here, it's not really going to be helping them exactly where they would need to, because I'm usually looking at the most significant parts of the map, which means that they are usually looking there as well, so it's not that much of an help. Otherwise, at the bottom we see a bit of a raiding by Tato, who is basically picking a 1v1 with Winchester, and he's doing quite well, because he's already incorporating some spearmen into the battle here, and that's definitely something that Winchester wasn't expecting. And is he going to be switching into them as well? Yeah, he's reacting very quickly, and it's not really all that hard because he already has all that he needs, and that's barracks, and he already did have some pikemen, at least for the defense of his lumber camp line. So that's that. This basically means that Tatok is stopping with his raiding, whereas Winchester is taking the battle to his own base. He's having some kind of spearmen here. So with a bit of patrol, that could be pretty much safe, as one of the guys could be enough. But let's look on the right side, where yet again, Lavihet is sending some scout cavalry guys into the lumber camp here, but with the defense of the spearmen, that's pretty much going to be it. But once the numbers are reaching some kind of interesting numbers, which could be about now, those 4 and 5, they could be taking the spearmen one-on-one, or rather 4 versus 1. They should actually be fighting here. Yeah, they need to be careful, because obviously those villagers are pretty strong. They're almost equally strong as the pikemen without the bonus, obviously, or rather spearmen. But yeah, they did buy the extra time, and Lavihet has to retreat somewhere else, and she's going to be having a bit of luck. Yeah, one villager dead. So pretty good job by Lavihet in the raiding here, and we are going to be seeing how good is Winchester in his raiding of his own. So far he hasn't killed any kind of villager, or at least that I could see, and he seems to be aiming into the pocket, which is a pretty good idea, because Moraimon is not actually prepared for this all that much. He doesn't have any kind of units, and since he has market, he might be slinging, because we have seen that the warrior is also slinging. And I'm going to check right now into the economy tab. We see slinging from warrior into Winchester. Okay, so they are basically doing the same as ByTs were doing the last game, and it might be working exactly the same, because if Winchester is able to pull off something similar to what Tatok was, or rather did pull off last time around, it could be pretty strong indeed. But he really needs all the defense that he can get, because right now he's fighting against quite a lot of scout cavalry guys, and even though he is having quite a lot of spearmen, he should be probably spreading them out a bit, because right now they are slower than those scout cavalry guys, obviously, and yeah, this is going to be quite nasty on the wood line here. Oh well. So that's at least one villager down. Yeah, one villi down, but with all those guys in, he should be probably changing scenery, and he is basically dividing his army into 2 flanks, which is a pretty nice idea. So far, Winchester wasn't dividing them, and yep, this is going to be quite nasty, and a very nice job, and a micro battle between those 2 experts here. Let's just have a quick look into the pocket of ByT's Monaimon, who is right now being raided by both Winchester and Lavihead. As Red has right now basically defended himself with some of the pikemen or other spearmen that he had. And I've also seen a bit of a red dot in Neil's base. And that's just just a ward in Eagle Warrior. Okay, so that's not much not much interesting, and yeah, that's not really going to be anything substantial. Because obviously, with the Mongol player, you know what he's going to do, so the scouting is not really going to be giving you all the extra information that you might be hoping for. Winchester being occupied with the defense here, whereas Tatok trying to find some way to kill some of the villagers, but he has lost one of the scout cavalry guys, and with the clicking in into Castle Age from both Tatok and Lavihead, Winchester is going to be quite fast because he's slunk obviously, but well, it could be making all the difference because as a Han, it's going to be a very fast jump into Imperial Age very soon. Yeah, he's receiving quite a lot of resources right now, and well, we'll be seeing how the ByTs react to that. Lavihead waiting for the right moment to attack, which is definitely not going to be here, as this tree line is very nicely protected by all those 4 spearmen. And do we see something interesting somewhere else? Not much, because everything is pretty much nicely walled. But we also see very interesting stuff from Setito, who is preparing some archers inside his archer ranges, and he will be waiting for the castle age himself for some crossbowmen and some potential raiding. Knights joining the battle here for Winchester, or rather the raiding, and yeah, right now all those spearmen are not going to be good enough because obviously the Castle Age unit is much more stronger than the Feudal Age one. Castle Age is coming in from Fort Atok pretty soon though, so the window of opportunity for Winchester is closing fairly soon. And you can see that the pocket for Monaimon, or rather pocket for ByT, Monaimon is already supplying some extra knights himself, and this should be reasonably enough. And if Tatok together with Monaimon time this correctly, they could be doing quite a lot of damage to the early army of Winchester and maybe stopping him in his tracks. But look at how he's slunk. And it's probably not going to be all that easy, even with all those spearmen waiting for the right moment to attack. But with the switch into camels, which is a pretty nice idea, this should result in switching into a raiding from Winchester into the pocket Monaimon. Lavihead is somewhere, or has she lost everything? No, she's inside her base, because somehow Setito has made his way through into her base. I'm not exactly sure how. Oh well, through the bottom here. Yep, so that's very nicely played. And all those archers are a bit problematic, as even though Lavihead is having quite some amount of scout cavalry, yep, they wouldn't be good enough. But those knights that were hiding in the stable, very nicely played by Lavihead, they will be more than enough. And the Castle Age coming in just now from Setito, so yep, no crossbowmen from these guys. So pretty nicely played from Lavihead, and even though Setito was under some kind of pressure, he was able to turn the battle around, and also nicely played for him to alleviate the pressure on him. Monaimon has been forced basically to retreat to his base because he needs to defend against the raiding from Winchester, who is doing all he can to attack his guard line, but obviously that's not going to be all that easy with the extra TC fire, and he is also trying to somehow keep pressure on Tatok on the left, which is definitely not going to be easy, especially when he's being raided himself. But this kind of seems like that Tatok is not really caring all that much about them, and yep, they are going to be dying just about now. Okay, so this is just the army here, done, and all the extra barracks are, or rather extra barracks. That's kind of interesting, because it basically seems like the Han player will be switching into knights together with spearmen, which is a combination I don't really remember seeing all that often from a Han, but it definitely will be doing a pretty good job. Tatok is going for quite a lot of scout cavalry and knights right now, and he also is forced to, talking about Winchester, forced to fight quite some knights from the blue player. Blue is right now though helping with the defense of red player Setito, who is having quite a decent amount of archers who are going to be turned into crossbowmen very soon, and crossbowmen together with some extra support from knights could be good enough to get rid of all those knights from both Winchester and Lavihead. Oh, do they have some extra health? Yeah, they do. They have a bit of a hill at the back. Could definitely be something useful, and oh yeah, this is sweet. This is a very sweet use of this tight space between this house and the archer range to basically limit the amount of knights that can target all those archers or other crossbowmen right now. And well, this is very nicely played, and really, VIKs have to be super careful not to fall for that trap. They might be, although quite interested in some extra siege units, exactly as I was thinking. workshop coming in from VIK, as that's going to be a bit of a mangonas exactly to deal with this kind of problem, like this strait between those two buildings. And you can see that Winchester is still on the prowl, trying to find some extra release that he could be killing. And he's also having quite a lot of units on the left, where he's trying to build a siege workshop, with some support of monks together with pikemen, and that's, well, that's a pretty great army. And I'm not exactly sure what Tatok will be doing against this, because together with Monaimon they are having just camels together with knights. And that's definitely not going to be enough against this kind of army. Well, this might be pretty short Arabia in the end. Because really, without being prepared for this, yeah, just siege workshop, that's definitely some kind of preparation. But with just one barracks and two stables, well, this is going to be a very short battle between this army from Winchester and Tatok. Well, right now Tatok knows what's coming for him, so that's going to be a bit of a spearman being converted here. So let's have a look on the right side, where we see, oh, I was going to see a bit of a raid in from red, but it's actually quite a lot of it. That's actually quite a lot of it, and even though this hole is plugged in, it's not going to be all that hard for this kind of army to get through the palisade wall, and Lavihat needs to be super careful, as she needs all the help that she can get, and she will be forced to retreat with quite a lot of knights, or rather all of those knights, as they won't be getting through the walls anytime soon to get all these villages here. As she seems... Oh yeah, I was already going to say that she seems to be heading back, but right now she definitely should be. She will be needing absolutely all the army that she can muster. Let's switch how many mangonels she actually has in there. Yeah, that's going to be 2 mangonels, and this tree line is actually very nicely positioned. This is going to be some kind of cover for those mangonels, and that's definitely something nice. And we might be seeing some very good shots into this tightly packed army, and that's going to be very hard for Setito to get some kind of positioning out. Oh, come on, shoot, shoot, shoot. Oh, well, we had... Oh yeah, she wasn't paying enough attention. But look at how this is interesting. Much more interesting stuff is happening on the left side, but Tatok is actually resigning, as there was the battle which was basically inevitable. We have seen how that is going to happen here, and even before it happened, yep, it was enough for Tatok to see that he cannot do anything against Slank Winchester. So pretty good job. And even though this attack was quite deadly, and there were some shots not really nearly enough, they still survived quite a lot of units. They weren't enough to turn the game around. Maybe they would have been if it took some time for Winchester to get rid of Tatok, but this was basically just one battle, and well, it was all it took. So pretty nicely played, and nicely done by VIK, and we are at 1-1. Let's have a look at the achievements. Where Winchester right now is going to be the MVP because he was slung this time around, obviously. Yeah, nice sling. Nice sling, and that's pretty much it. That's the whole thing that this game was all about. And he was also very nicely booming Winchester, even though he was slung. 79 villagers. Not bad. Not bad at this stage of the game. GG then.